Hey everybody, it's Miss Marin and I'm back to talk to you about a new topic that we're going to spend the next 2.5 weeks on, and that is place value. Specifically this week will be number forms. Students are going to learn to work with numbers up through 1 million, to read them, to write them, and to identify certain aspects about the digits in them and what values they hold. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be working numbers into the millions. So that means we've got large numbers with lots of digits. And if we didn't have a way of organizing these digits, it would be very confusing. So we're going to learn that numbers are organized into every 3 places. Every 3 places we call a period. And at the end of that period, they put a comma to help us organize what's what. Now this is something students have been working with. We call this our units or our ones, and this is something that students have been doing as early as 1st and 2nd grade. And that is knowing that this is the ones place, this is the tens place, and this is the hundreds place. Okay, so nothing new there. Now as numbers get bigger, we're going to separate, again with a comma after every 3 places, and this is going to become our thousands period. Now the thousands period also is broken up into 3 places. The thousands place, the 10,000s place, and the 100,000s place. And so students should notice some patterns here. We've got 1, 10, 100, and then within the thousands period, we also have that same pattern again, 1, 10, 100. But these are thousands, so this is 1,000, 10,000, and 100,000. As we get a little bit bigger, we'll be into the millions. And again, we're not going to be working into the 100 millions. We're only going to be going up to numbers into a million. But it's important to understand that these places do continue to have 3 period, or each period has 3 places, even if we're not going to be using them all in 4th grade. So this is the 1 millions place. This is the 10 millions place, and this is the 100 millions place. Okay, so what do we have here? 1, 10, 100 in a new period. 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. Another comma here. And then 1 million, 10 million, and 100 million. So if I were to give students a number like this and to ask them, can you read that number? This can be very easy if we understand how to break numbers into their periods. So we're going to read it 1 period at a time. Whether it's a 1-digit number, a 2-digit number, or a 3-digit number, we're going to say that number in its entirety. And whenever we see the comma, we're going to say the name of the period. So I'm going to ignore all of this for right now and focus on 1 period at a time. Okay? So this is going to be 4,726,389. Okay, so we take a big number and we learn to break it up by using those periods. 4,726,389. And then what we're going to do is we're going to be given some numbers in different forms. One of those forms we call a standard form. That would be numbers just written out in their digits. Okay, so this is a standard form. Can we write that in word form? That means, what do these numbers mean actually writing them out as the words that they are? So I would read this as, again, 1 period at a time, 368. 300. And this is where sometimes students want to put that period name too soon. They want to call it like 300,068. We don't want to do that. We're going to say the entire 3-digit number together. 368. Now I see the comma. I'm going to write the name of the period. 1,000. I'm going to put a comma in my words as well. It helps me to separate my words also. 368,000. And then this last 3-digit number. 500. 26. We can hyphenate any numbers 21 through 99 that are 2 words, like 68 and 26. All right, and then expanded forms. And I actually have expanded forms here because there's 2 of them that students are going to be expected to understand. So an expanded form is a way of saying, what does that 3 mean? Because 3 doesn't mean 3 unless it's in the ones place. 3 has lots of different values. So what does this 3 mean? Well, it's in the 100,000, so it's going to mean 300,000. And then we're going to basically break this number up and add all its values back together. The 6, what does this 6 mean? It's in the 10,000s place. So 60,000 plus, this 8 means 8,000, plus 5 means 500. Okay, the 2 means 20, and the 6 in this case finally means 6 because it's in the ones place. So that is a standard expanded form, or a regular expanded form. Another expanded form we have is what we call our powers of 10. So powers of 10 is kind of a way of saying, what is this digit and what place is it in? So basically like even breaking this number up even more. So this 3 means 3 of the 100,000s. Okay, this is also kind of what we call a distributive property, where you're breaking up numbers. We're going to use this into our next chapter when we're multiplying large numbers. Okay, what does this 6 mean? That is 6 of the 10,000s. Okay, what is that 8? That is 8 times 1,000. Okay, the 5 is 5 times the 100. The 2 for 20 is 2 times 10. And the 6 is 6 in the ones place. Okay, so there we have our standard form, we have our word form, we have our expanded form, 2 different ones. All right, so something else students are going to be able to do is to take an expanded form and can they work back and turn that into a standard form. So sometimes this can be a little tricky. So I like to just, and this is kind of a way of showing your work, just identify where those place values are going to be. It helps me to place digits where they need to go. So starting first with 6 in the 100,000s. So here's my thousands period. That'd be over here. 6 in the 100,000s. As we progress smaller, we're looking for the 10,000s. We got 4 in the 10,000s. 3 in the thousands. Next comes the hundreds. I don't have any, so this is where students have to be very careful. I'm not just going to automatically put a 6 there because that 6 needs to be in the tens place. So since I have no hundreds, I'm going to put 0 there. Helps to keep everything in the places they should be, and also shows that we have no hundreds. And then we're going to put 6 in the tens and 4 in the ones. Okay, my word form is going to be 643. Okay, so I'm just reading that number, 643, and then the name of the period, 1,000. This is the one the students hate the most, writing all this out. 64. All right, and then the last thing is to be able to take the word form and can you put that into standard and expanded forms. We're always going to do the standard form first because we want to be able to just see the numbers written out as a digit before we try to put them into what their values are. All right, so this is 403,000. Got to be careful here. 403, that's not 43. That's 403 for 403,513. Okay, and then we're going to write that in expanded form. So what is the value of that 4? That's 400,000. I have no 10,000, so I can skip that. I've got 3,000. The 5 means 500. 10 and 3. Okay, so those are our 3 different forms the students are going to be able to become very familiar with this week. Standard form, expanded form, and word form. All right, one other thing that we're going to want students to be able to do is to understand what it means when you work with a base 10 number system. So when you talk about base 10, we say that our number system is a base 10 system. So what does that mean? That means that every time you progress from one place to your neighbor to the left, that it takes 10 of the smaller one to make up the next larger one. So it's going to take 10 times of ones to make a 10. It's going to take 10 tens to make 100. It's going to take 10 hundreds to make 1,000. It will take 10 thousands to make a 10,000. It will take 10 10,000s to make 100,000. And it will take 10 100,000s to make 1,000,000. Okay? Now, if it's going to take 10 of these to make each one of these neighbors to the left, if we were to go backwards, if we were to start at millions and say, if I were to move in the thousands, that would be, students like to call it 10 times as small, which isn't really a mathematical statement. So they're really saying is it's 1/10 the size. So 100,000 is 1/10 the size of 1,000,000. 1/10 of 100,000 is 10,000. 1/10 of a 10,000 is 1,000. 1/10 of 1,000 is 100. The 1/10 concept, that's really more of a 5th grade skill. We're just going to be focusing on numbers getting larger and knowing that it's 10 times its place to the right. Now, one other thing that we want students to become familiar with is looking at some of these patterns. And this is something that students will pick up on pretty quickly because they know about multiplying by tens. Even if they haven't multiplied with numbers that are this large yet, they do know that as they multiply any number times 10, like if I say 5 times 10, they know right away that's 50. You're just adding a 0. If I say 8 times 10, they know that that's 80. You're just adding a 0. Well, the same thing happens with these large numbers. So here's an example. So what do I know about 100 compared to 1,000? Well, I know that hundreds compared to thousands is one place away. So when it's one place away, it becomes 10 times its value. So in our last unit, we learned about comparison statements, and we learned to say that something was a certain times the size of another number. So if I were to say 10 times of 100, that's going to equal 1,000. If I were to take a look at this number over here, 10,000 compared to 100,000, that's one place away in a place value chart. So 10 times of a 10,000 is equal to 100,000. And they're also going to notice what happens here in some of these patterns is that you've got one more 0 in each of these. So here we had 2 zeros, now we've got 3. Here we had 4 zeros, now we have 5. Every time you multiply by a 10, you end up with one extra 0 in your product. Okay, here's another one, from 5,000 to 50,000. 10 times the value of 5,000 is equal to 50,000. One place away in my place value chart, one extra 0 into the larger number. All right, and then here's another example. I put a star by this one, a little bit of a challenge here. So this is 8,000 compared to 800,000. So this isn't one place value away. This is, so 1,000 compared to 100,000. This is 2 place values away. So every time I go from one place to my neighbor is 10 times as big. So to 2 neighbors away is going to be 10 times 10, which is actually 100 times as big. So 100 times as big as 8,000 is equal to 800,000. Okay, a little bit of a bonus there for you. We're really only going to stick to 10 times the value in 4th grade, but that might come up, so it might be helpful. So one other thing we're going to do is if I were to take a number like this and say, how does the value of the 6 compare in 426,379 to the value of the 6 in 1,563,428? How does the value of the 6 compare? So a 6 doesn't always mean 6. 6 doesn't equal 6 unless they're in the same place value. Well, this 6 means 6,000. This 6 here means 60,000. So how does a 6,000 compare to a 60,000? Well, it's one place away in place value from the thousands to the 10,000s. That means it's going to be 10 times as big. So we would say that the value of the 6 in this number is 10 times the value of the 6 that's in this number here. Okay? All right, so that's pretty much it for this week on number forms. Thank you for hanging out for 13 minutes. You can like or comment the video. And thank you so much for watching.